Okay, guys, welcome. It's this is a contribution call for the planet, really, and for the Earth, and for the oceans here in Florida and everywhere else on the planet. So, just to give a little synopsis, Tiffany, do you want to tell us what's going on?
Yes. Since this, I'm pulling up the numbers now because I want to be accurate with the numbers because they're up there. But since June, I noticed when I came back from LA this past August, I started getting very, very ill. And I have problems with autoimmune. And I was getting sicker and sicker to the point where I could barely move. So I started contacting some of my friends at Moat Marine. And to our horror, we discovered that there were a lot more death tolls than what we had. I know that there was over 400 dead dolphins. We lost a whale shark, alligators, 11 tons of fish, dead fish were taken off of Siesta Key Beach alone. So that's not counting Manatee County, everything. They hired, we've been in a state of crisis since the beginning or the middle of August. So just think about it, how many dump trucks it takes to get 11 tons of dead fish off of it. Manatees, they were just making a comeback. Okay, here's the official numbers as of like 3 weeks ago. 220 manatees. They were making an official comeback. They just got off the endangered species. This just tanked them and put them back on the endangered species. We lost 400 sea turtles, 200 dolphins, and over 100 tons of dead fish. That's just with Manatee and Sarasota County alone. 11 tons of dead fish were taken off of Siesta Key Beach. There have been, according to Dr. Rockers, he was talking to us the other day, there have been over 800 confirmed cases of hookworm at Sarasota Memorial Hospital alone, where people have walked on the beach and Siesta Key and obtained hookworm. There were, not too long ago, one of my friends took a picture of the beach and was freaking out because where the white powdery sand, she noticed it was moving and she walked up to it and it was nothing but maggots as far as the eye could see on top of the beach.
Can I just ask, what, like, is, I'm a little bit behind. I'm so glad that you invited me, Amy, but I don't know everything.
Educate Julia before she comes to Florida.
I'm here to contribute, but I don't know what, no, I do, but, what is this kind of like something that's generally like just over the
No,
it's something
this is just it's August.
Okay, and it's just created by general pollution, or is there some catastrophe that I don't know about?
Ironically, Aaron Brockovich has been here in Sarasota, Florida, and they're looking into there's a lot. It's not just the red tide. Lake Okeechobee is basically polluted beyond, full of toxins and fertilizers from all the farming that's around. So you can just imagine Big Sugar. You've got all the orange groves that, with all the different fertilizers that washed into Lake Okeechobee. That Lake Okeechobee is actually sludge. So when they release the dam, it's just feeding the red tide, which is making it worse. But they're noticing other contaminants that are in the water besides the blue algae and the red tide, because it's not only red tide, it's red algae, it's the blue-green algae. And it's to the point where it's gone airborne. They have told, they've sent doctors notices from both Sarasota Memorial and Doctors Hospital. They found out that a lot of the red tide and the blue-green algae has gone into our canal systems and including into the Everglades as well, which is producing airborne toxins, and it's killed I don't know how many ducks. They said that they're having all these seabirds are washing up dead on the shores. When they do autopsies, their actual lungs are green from where they were inhaling a lot of the vapors from the red algae and from the red tide. Aaron Brockovich has done some studies, and they said something about fracking, but I don't know. I can't quote that because I didn't get the official report, and I don't know what it's saying. But rumor has it that there is something that's happened with the aquifers, where there's a lot of talk that there was a like I said, don't quote me on this one because I haven't seen the actual documentation myself. But rumor has it that from the fracking or from some of this runoff that there was a lake underwater under our limestone that has not been touched since the Mesolithic stage, I guess it was. The Mesolithic ages, I can't pronounce that. It's the basically in the dinosaur ages, right around when Megalodon was around. And it's releasing a lot of toxins into our aquifers. And what people don't understand is the Everglades is the world's filter. It's not just Florida. All the water that goes through the Atlantic Ocean, believe it or not, it goes through our Everglades and it comes out between the Gulf and vice versa. And that's what cleans our oceans. That is in jeopardy. That is in danger. There's a lot of toxins in that. I know I live 8 miles from the ocean. I actually live on the other side of I-75, so I'm not actually close to it. But just when I got off the plane, my cat lost all his hair and is having respiratory problems. My dog is having respiratory problems. I have been like dealing with a lot of autoimmune situations, and that's just me. My son, when he went to school, a lot of the kids were passing out. This was approximately a month ago because the toxins were so bad that the kids were trying to go out on the PE field. They couldn't breathe. They've actually had, they're coining it the red tide flu, where people who work along the water, along the shorelines and stuff like that, especially with tourism, that they've been inhaling a lot of this, that they've been having flu-like symptoms, vomiting, diarrhea, respiratory infections, and it's just getting worse. There's just no end in sight. And watching this happen, it's just like when you go to Siesta Key Beach, especially those of you who've been there. I know Sarah Miller lives in this area. Christine Caruso, she's one of those that I can vouch, she could vouch for me. When you walk out on that beach, it's like walking on powdered sugar. And now all of a sudden, when you go to the beach, all the seabirds are gone. All the crabs are washing off dead. So a lot of our stone crabs are dying now. So that's another problem that we're having. That's just the beginning. I mean, there's so much more that I could just go into detail on how it's affecting everything, but it's 12 miles out in the Gulf. That's how deep this is going. And it's making its way to South Florida. So, and Amy Shine got a whiff of it. When was it that you started having a hard time about it? Was it like a week ago?
Well, here, it's been happening over by you, Tiffany, for a while now, and it's just coming our way now. And on Sunday, they closed down our beaches up Jupiter and Palm Beach. They closed down the beaches, and then they actually stopped people going to the beach, and they said it's in the air, it's airborne, the toxins are in the air. And Julia, there's controversy here that there's like a sugar factory that dumps a load of their toxins into the water, and every year they get fined, and they rather pay the fine and keep dumping. And apparently they line the politicians' pockets too. But so on Monday,
and not to mention legislation, what was it, 7 years ago, 5 to 7 years ago, legislation lowered the bar as far as what's allowed, what a lot of these farmers are, chemicals they're allowed to use. So now they're allowed to use a lot of these toxic chemicals that normally they weren't allowed to use. Wow, that was tongue tying. Allowed to use. Say that 3 times fast. But now they're being allowed to use these chemicals and these toxins, and they've actually, even in Florida, which is really startling, they even lowered the bar for our drinking water and allowed 7 cancerous types of elements to be in our drinking water. Bet you didn't know that. So everybody's like, my filtered water, but
for Florida here.
Yeah.
What you saying?
It's like, I know somebody else was talking, but I didn't hear it.
Where are the environmental protection agencies? Where's the EPA in all of this? I don't understand. Why are they not up here?
I don't. You know what? We're asking that same question. We're screaming. It's in the newspapers. Where are you people at? Where is this? Where are they going?
Well, and a lot of. Well, I don't know what the EPA, but I know that. They're trying to dim it down here because we're a tourism industry, so we don't want the word to get out, because then people won't come down here. If you don't have tourism in Florida, you really don't have anything. Everybody comes down here during the winter. So
the media yet? Have you gone to any of the major networks or anything like that?
They won't take it because of this.
They won't take it.
Yeah, right. But Erin Brockovich did. So she just did her report. She should be doing something about it, but it's to the point where she came down here. because it's ridiculous. It's like it's like a war zone. I mean, if you guys, and I know those of you who live in Sarasota can vouch. I mean, this has been tragic. It's a travesty, and a lot of them will cover it, but they won't even warn like the doctors were telling us the other day. They won't even warn the people to stay out of the water. They're not even doing that, and it's still toxic, but they don't want to do that because they don't want to mess with the tourism.
Yeah, they want.
And Labor Day weekend was horrible. They let them swim in it, and one of the guys left and had what was that guy that was in the water, and then he lost all 4 limbs because of flesh-eating bacteria. And then there was another case where a student was swimming in it just north of us on Clearwater Beach, and he got meningitis from it. I mean, you name it. But they're not making an issue out of it. And it's in the news. I mean, it's documented in the news, but it's just like it's being stifled.
Well, I feel like
the politics.
Okay, so everything that this is bringing up, can we destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Right. On a short boys and beyonds, all the resistance and reaction to the government, to the politicians, to the sugar factories, to everyone who's creating this, can we destroy and uncreate it? Whew, right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pop, on a shorts, boys and beyonds. And so when I was at work the other night, like I went outside and I work opposite the beach, and I felt like this heaviness in my chest, and I knew the beach had been closed, but they were still leaving people on the beach. And I was like, what's that in my, like that smell? I thought it was like a burning or something downstairs. And then I realized, oh my God, it's like what they're talking about. It's, it's the toxins in the air. And I asked my manager to come out, and she kind of like, she did the same thing. And she goes, yeah, I can feel it. And we went back inside, and she was just like, this kind of energy of like, yeah, this is terrible that it's happening, but, what can we do about it? Like, we're powerless, and that's what I sense from people. It's like, Anthony, you're saying, well, what if you talk to this person or you contact these people? People just don't want to hear about it, because it's almost like, well, we can't do anything about it, so let's not even talk about it or look at it or put it in the papers or talk about it too much. It's kind of like, well, what can we do about it? And that's when I was in the kitchen at work, and I was like, fuck this, like, these are our beaches. This is our planet. We live here, and we can't even go outside right now near the water or anything because of the air. And we actually do have capacities. We're not powerless. We can change this. We can contribute. And, maybe most of the population have checked out and decided they can't, and they have no power. But I know I do, and I know ye all have too. So that's why I was like, let's just get together and see what we can contribute. And the process that Gary gave us in class, and he's told us, go out and teach people how to do it, is the demolecular manifestation and molecular demanifestation of toxic amalgams and run it on the water. And he's told us, go out and do it. So that was kind of the energy to get us all together, because like, we're more powerful together, and what do we all know, and what can we all contribute?
Awesome.
Brianna, you want to talk about the process? We'll unmute. Yeah, no.
You unmuted yourself and then muted yourself.
Yeah, Rihanna. There you are.
Molecular demanifestation of toxic amalgams and demolecular manifestation of healthy environment I'm getting. It's a wonderful process. I was living by the bay a few years ago, and they put up signs that it was contaminated, and I ran it for a few days in a row, and everything cleared up. And I've used it a lot. So what can we all do together, with this? In the space I get of gratitude for everything that the oceans contribute to us. We can run it on each other. I don't know what you had in mind, Amy. I know you said we can run it on each other and then run it on the ocean, but we can just ask it to run. And, with the intention of it on our oceans in this area and everywhere in the world, really. Anything else that you need, Amy?
Yeah, cool. Sorry, I unmuted myself as I just typed it in the chat box. But I have it here. So basically, it's demolecular manifestation and molecular demanifestation, and then you can add source field for elimination and eradication of toxic amalgams. So you can run this process on your body, and you can also run it on water. But the thing is, like, we all know at this stage, or at least I hope we know, that, like, okay, we have bodies and we're connected to the earth and to the planet. So whatever goes on in the planet affects our bodies, and whatever goes on with our bodies affects the planet. So if we run this process on our bodies, then it also contributes to the planet and vice versa. So, yeah, you can just, like, and basically I used the clearing statement earlier on. It's called good and bad, right and wrong, hot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, because there's some new people here. Forgot to explain it. And that just clears our points of views, because we want to contribute to the earth, not from the point of view of what's happening is terrible, what's happening is awful, these people, whoever's polluting the environment, like, not resisting reacting to anyone or anything, and just being like, okay, like you said, Rihanna, having gratitude for the planet, for the water, for the ocean, and asking every day, what can we contribute? And actually asking for the process to run. So even if I go to a restaurant and I have, like, water, and the water comes to the table and it tastes really, like, you can taste like the chlorine or whatever, I'll just put my hand over the water and I'll call up demolecular manifestation, molecular demanifestation, source field for elimination and eradication of toxic amalgams, run. And then you can say the clearing statement, right and wrong, good and bad, hot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds, and I'll feel the energy, kind of like the heat, come in my hands. And you can do the same on your body. You can run it on your third eye and your thymus, your liver and your spleen and your kidneys. And you can have someone else run it on you, or you can run it on yourself. And when you're by the beach or by the ocean, you can run it. You can, like, run it from afar, from a distance. Just call up the process. And I've been calling up the process every day since I became really aware of what was going on. And asking, just asking the water, like, what can I contribute? And every day asking universe, what's the greatest contribution I can be to the planet, to consciousness, and to the ocean, and to the water today?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love this process, actually. And if you want, I can read just the piece that Gary wrote, which is the description. So toxic amalgams are part of what creates cancer in the body. With doing demolecular manifestation and molecular demanifestation on water, the one thing that was difficult to eliminate was chlorine. The chlorine was going through aluminium, so it became aluminium chloride, so therefore it was a heavy metal. So with running source field for elimination and eradication of the toxic amalgams, it can change and eliminate the taste of chlorine in the water. So in order for something to be toxic, it has to amalgamate itself to something in order to stick in your body. That takes where two chemicals have come together, aluminium and chlorine, and unlocks them so they can dissipate. Neither one of them can hold in your body easily by themselves, but if you put the two of them together, you can't eliminate it. So you just ask for demolecular manifestation, molecular demanifestation, and then add source field for elimination and eradication of toxic amalgams. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Run, baby, run.
Run, baby, run, baby, run, baby.
Go, baby, go.
And so what if we were just that energy with the ocean and with the planet right now? And, like, yeah, what's happening is it's sad, it's terrible. And what if we were like, okay, that fun energy and that playful, and what would it take to contribute to the ocean from that energy? We know Mother Earth can take care of herself, and she'll do whatever it takes. And we also live on this planet. And it's like, I did this thing for ages where I would be like, if it wasn't happening in front of me, it wasn't really happening. It's kind of like, yeah, you read about it, you hear about it, even if it's just 3 hours away in Sarasota, like, you hear about it, it's terrible. But when it's actually happening right in front of you, it becomes a lot more real. And Gary talked for years in classes about our planet is dying, we don't have that much time, you've got to get to work, guys, you've got to get to work, get out there, like our planet is dying, we've got to start contributing to the planet. And on Monday night at work, I was like, holy fuck, he's totally right, our planet is dying. And I was like, okay, we got to get to work. We have processes. We have the energy. We can contribute, So it's kind of like, this thing of like, oh, it's not really happening. And like, let's carry on with my life. Like, your life doesn't matter if we don't have a planet to live on, It's like, so I kind of just got that fire inside me Monday night and was like, okay, we've got work to do, And Dane kind of gave me that challenge a couple of years ago when I moved to Florida. He's like, you got a lot of work to do here. And I was like, okay. And it's kind of like, it's time, I know it's time for me in a way, just to actually start using all the tools that we've received from Gary and Dane and from Access Consciousness, and the energy work and the body processes we know are such a contribution to our bodies and can also be such a contribution to the water and to the planet and to the oceans. And it's like, we can teach this to people, for free. Gary said, give this process to people for free and let them use it, let them know what it is so they can run it too. So anyone else got anything they want to add?
I live across the street from the beach, and there are a lot of people that are coughing. Like, this is real. It's not something you're making up. In fact, my neighbor she crossed the street this morning and she saw a man coughing, and she walked over to him and she said, I just have a question. She said, were you coughing before you left your house? Were you coughing yesterday? And he said, no. And so he turned around and went the other way. He went away from the ocean. And this is here in East Boca Raton, where we had not had a problem. And you're right, it's like out of sight, out of mind, and shame on us. And it's not about fighting for or against, but truly what you said, what energy, space, and consciousness can we be to contribute, and rather than looking at things with like a blind eye, to be present with the ocean and the earth and be whatever energy it desires and requires from each one of us. Because I myself have heard this and I'm happy to be on this call, because I've been kind of like so busy. I'm like, oh, the red tide, but a little bit absent from it. So thank you.
And just so you guys know, what would it take if we do this more often? And anybody who wants to join, I know that Dawn Myers and Renata and that group up in Cocoa Beach have been doing a call, I think, once a week for the ocean. And you can find them on Facebook, the group where they get together in the mornings and do a meditation or this kind of thing. So let's keep doing it.
Yeah. And so right now, if we all just expand out, beyond the room we're in, expand out beyond the building, the city, the state, the country, and expand out beyond the oceans, beyond the earth, and expand out beyond this planet and across the other planets and across the whole universe. And how much space can we all be? And from this space, can we ask for demolecular manifestation, molecular demanifestation, source field for elimination and eradication of toxic amalgams to run on the planet, on the earth, on the waters, on the oceans here in Florida and beyond. And anything doesn't know that, can we destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all night shorts, boys and beyonds. 1,000 times, 1,000 times, a godzillion times. And that's it. It's so simple, right? It's so easy. Amalgams. I might be saying it wrong. I have an accent. Amalgams.
What is that? I love your accent, Amy.
So
And I just want to say, I am so grateful. I'm beyond grateful that everybody's on this call, because I've been struggling with this for almost 2 months and trying to do little things here and there, and just watching everybody just come on this call and participate. I'm just, it brings tears to my eyes. It's just gorgeous on how everybody's coming together and how everybody's becoming aware and doing something about it, because for so long, especially with the way tourism is in Florida, it's like out of sight, out of mind, or if we don't talk about it, it doesn't exist. And that's how a lot of it's been. And so grateful, just beyond grateful.
And as well, what came up for me during the week, and I don't know, this will read for some of you, but it was like this energy of being an activist. And I became aware of okay, so all the lifetimes I was like an activist, I fought for and against, I fought for peace, or I fought for whatever, I fought for the environment. And then it was like in this, and it, and we all know, okay, well, I hope we know that fighting never really gets you anywhere. So all the lifetimes I was an activist and I fought, but I never actually created any change. So then in this lifetime, it was like, oh, I just give up. I'm not even going to look at it. I'm not even going to try. I'll just carry on in my little bubble here in creating my reality, And then during the week, I was like, okay, so all the lifetimes I was an activist, and I decided I would never actually even look at this stuff again, destroy and uncreate it. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, corner shirts, boys, beyonds. And then this lifetime, we don't have to fight for or against. We can just ask, what contribution can we be? Whole different energy.
So I'd like to say, I know it's windy here.
Go first.
So I'd like to say I'm really grateful that we're all here doing this right now. Last year I did this class down in Key Biscayne, and only 2 people showed up. And I never really asked, is now the time to do this, until after I did it. And I kept getting like a no. And today I'm just like, okay, well, how loud does the earth have to get before we do anything? And it's like, what are we waiting for, really? It's like, could we just do it because we can? Or does it have to get this loud? So that's all. Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I said thanks, Stephanie. And it is really cool that you're on the beach. And so you're right, you did, you tried to get people together. So I'm going to unmute you again, Steph, sorry. Didn't Gary get a group of people together before somewhere in California? Who knows that story? And they went and ran molecular demanifestation on the water somewhere in America. What was that? They did it on the land. Wasn't there an oil spill or something?
It was the oil spill in the Gulf that he got everyone together, and we did a contribution, and it totally changed.
Yeah.
So everywhere where we have the thought that this can't really make a difference, then we destroy and uncreate all that.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, all 9 shirts, boys and beyond. Yay.
Cool.
And what would it take for this clearing to be 50 times more potent than the Gulf clearing?
Yes.
And anything and everything that doesn't allow us to see, know, receive, or perceive that, let's destroy and create all that. Yes. Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, park, all 9 shorts, boys and beyond.
And I'm getting a lot of sadness. Can we destroy and create all the sadness?
Yeah. Thank you.
Picking up from everyone else. Yeah. Thank you. Right, wrong, good and bad, fucking fun. All 9 shorts, boys and beyond.
Yeah. Thanks for saying that. I felt like crying when you were talking, Slim. I was like, what's going on? So yeah, all the sadness, the grief, the sorrow, the hopelessness, and the powerlessness that is coming up around this. Can we destroy and uncreate it? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, corner shirts, boys, beyond. And Reed asked a question. He wanted to know what amalgams are. So amalgams is like when something amalgamates, it attaches to it. So can you imagine the water? It's like the toxins are attaching to like the water, or maybe even to the, like, say, to the fish or whatever, and like creating that like toxic environment. That's,
Like
I don't know, someone else has a better definition of it.
when different elements come together and combine.
Rihanna, can you turn up your volume a small bit?
Turn it off?
Turn it up.
Oh,
Turn you up.
turn me up, baby. It's when, it's the combination of different material, different elements that come together and create something different that it's toxic. So it's kind of like they're pouring all that stuff and it's creating the algae that is creating the red dye, whatever they call it.
Yeah. It's kind of almost like something sticking to you.
Well, I mean, in dentistry, it's considered, an amalgam is considered what they use to fill in a cavity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Totally. Donna, do you want to say anything? Do you want to add anything? I know you lived in Florida for a while.
Yeah, I thank you guys for doing this. I was aware of it like right when I landed. I was like, wow, this is like the filtration system of the planet being totally undervalued, and so it's awesome that we're getting together to do this. I think for me, when I was there, right before I left is when it was like coming up, and I ran this process. Like I would walk out on the beach and ask my body to turn this process on and connect to all of the wildlife and the manatees and the dolphins, and then I wouldn't smell really anything, and I would be like, wow, the beach here looks great. So what can you guys create? I'm not there anymore, but even me from here, what can you guys create just asking your body to run this like all the time, every time you're outside? What if something totally different is possible? Like what if Florida is so, it really is the filtration system. It is like the lungs of the planet. Like what if we all honored that? So yeah, thanks for inviting me, Amy.
Wow, amazing. I love that. Florida's the lungs of the planet. Everyone's coughing up their lungs.
Yeah, like not just for the United States though. It's like that. Like the whole planet is connected. That is like our lungs.
Yeah.
Really. Everything that's filtered there. It's so valuable. And you know what else too? Like what can we tap into in terms of like the new, part of what comes up for me is like everything being kind of exposed, you know, like
Yes.
Gary will talk about Trump being like, oh, everything that's been hidden in America is now being exposed. And my point, what I think about Florida is that it's like everything that everybody's been numb about or unwilling to see, it's the unseen being like totally exposed. And now everybody's wanting to take action, which is really awesome. So can we all sort of connect to all the energies that were created in DC at that leadership, like the leaders of the new world and the young kids that really know something else is possible? What can we contribute to those guys, the policymakers, to the statesmen? Can we ask for statesmen to connect to this particular topic too in Florida?
Yeah.
Cool. And everything that doesn't allow that, good,
Yeah.
bad, pod, pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Who can show up that has a voice that can be heard with regards to this?
And everyone who's part of creating the pollution of the waters here, can they actually expose themselves now as well? And does anyone want to jump in with some? Christine, do you have anything you want to add, love? Or I know you're over in Sarasota as well, or somewhere around there. Does anybody want to jump in? And what about some 1, 2, 3s, 1, 2, 3, 4s? Anyone want to take the lead with that one? Help me out.
I can do some.
Go on, Julia. Fingers are coming. Hey, Julia,
right, so
just so be aware, there's people who will listen to this call in the future who do not know anything about access consciousness or the tools of it. And there's someone here tonight who's new to access as well. So if you want to just like say what the 1, 2, 3s are.
yes, welcome to everybody who's new. Welcome to the lady at the bar straight. So 1, 2, 3 is basically waving a magic wand or changing anything. So I use 1, 2, 3s to change the way that I'm feeling in a day. I use 1, 2, 3s to change the way that my body feels, my business works, and also the way that the world is going. So what you can do is really contribute to the earth, because we aren't even part of the earth. We are the earth.
Like, we are subjects of the earth. We are beings of the earth, and we're made out of earth material. Like, that's what we are, as the earth. So when we give 1, 2, 3s to the earth, and we go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and contribute to the earth, what happens is the earth, our presence and our contribution actually strengthens the earth. And we need to be present with the earth, because right now most of the 7 billion of us are ignoring it. So there's like 150 of us who are not ignoring it out of 7 billion. So the ratio is a little bit off to my estimation. So when those of us who are willing to be present actually be present and contribute with 1, 2, 3s, that really, really feeds the earth and nurtures the earth, because our presence is one of the most powerful substances on the planet. All we have to do is be present. We used to, the founder of Access Consciousness, Gary Douglas, says that a long, long time ago, we used to actually be more honored and regarded for what we would be. And now we are honored and regarded for what we do. And we're hardly even honored and regarded. We're just more expected to do rather than be. So let's do some 1, 2, 3s, just using our energy, and contribute to the earth. So 1, 2,
whatever energy it requires. Yeah.
Yes, whatever the earth requires. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And you could also just be that energy too. So for a minute, rather than even having to go like that, let's just be present with the earth and just gift and receive with the earth, between the earth and our body, whatever is required for it. And what can we be that we're currently not being, that if we would be it, would change all of this with total ease? And everything that doesn't allow that, times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, all 9 pod poc, shorts, boys, and beyond. Cool. So, and then maybe some 1, 2, 3, 4s.
Yeah.
So, and 1, 2, 3, 4s are an energy designed to change the future. So let's do some, and you don't usually need as many 4s as 3s, for those of you who are just learning this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. Awesome.
Thank you, Julia.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Oh,
It's really, really making my body sleepy and feel like really kind of nurtured and warm to create this energy with all of you guys together. It's so much stronger when we do it this way together.
yeah, and you don't feel like, you're so powerless. Like, there's a big bad world out there doing this stuff. We actually have capacities to change stuff.
Totally.
Thanks, Julia.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Anything else, guys? Ladies? Since there's some guys in our room here. We got the men here. Okay, so I have this recorded. I'll send it out to you all. And if you want to send it on to any of your friends or anyone who asks afterwards, you can. I have the process if anybody wants me to send you the process. And we'll see what else we can create for the future, to keep maybe contribution calls going and seeing what else is possible here. Because, like everyone has been saying, and, and Donna and Tiffany and all, like, this isn't just Florida. Like, this is our planet. This is our Earth, What happens here affects everywhere else. And, it's like someone said, like, the planet's literally, like, screaming at us, So,
Amy?
Yeah.
I was just wondering, we have that group, Restoration of Communion with the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what would take to actually revive that group.
Yeah, go for it. Do it. I don't know what that group is, but if you know what the group is, do it and invite us to it.
Yeah, it was for the Earth Days. So like the Global Restoration of Communion with the Earth. I thought that was originally created for that. So I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we can talk to Danielle about that, because I think Danielle was the one who ran Earth Day. I don't know, do they do Earth Day anymore? Are they still doing it?
April 22nd.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Shannon did one this year.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering too, if we could. I'm just thinking for me, if Gary said just give this process for free, if there's something that we could actually, like, even do like a free body class on. If I don't know if that's is that what he referred to?
I would have to double check about that, but I know he just said like show people how to run demolecular manifestation, molecular team. Didn't he, Stephanie? What do you know about that, Stephanie? About
It's windy.
the water.
Hold on. So what I did was that we got together and I talked about the process. We got in the water, we ran the process, and that's it. I was like, in my head, it's like it's something that we're gonna do repeatedly. And once you do the process and it becomes a habit, you just know how to do it. Or you can always tap into the energy of, hey, that process that we ran on the water that day, I'd like to run that again. And then, by doing the clearing statement, the energy will know what you're requesting.
I don't know if it would be kind of honoring to the body process facilitators to run it as a body class, but I think that teaching people to run it on the earth and on their own bodies would probably be a contribution.
Yeah, I think you're right, Julia. I think it's like a process.
I was getting the same thing. Thanks.
Yeah, you can teach like verbally to people, like, like even if you're in the restaurant, you can show them like, like I showed you with the water, like, how to do it over the water. Like, honestly, like you taste table water these days. Like, it's like, oh my God. And then I'll run it for a while and then I'll taste the water and it'll be different, and people will be like, oh my God, like that actually changed, and they can actually start to do it then on the water they're drinking, or when they go to the beach, or and it's for people who are willing to receive it as well. Not everyone's willing.
And you know what I was wanting to add? Danielle's going to be down there here in a week or so, or here in a couple weeks, doing the body class. So with the body processes, so we have the 3-day body class coming up. Danielle's going to be down here, so I wonder what it would take to have that be a huge contribution to the state of Florida and all the water and all the, and anything and everything that doesn't allow that to happen, let's destroy and uncreate that. Yeah. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, park, all 9 shorts.
Well, Danielle did want to be on the call, but she's actually doing tools in action, right body view tools in action right now, and it's actually earth. They're doing like earth tools today. So, and she will contribute when she comes down, and we'll probably talk about it in class. And then Julia's coming in March next year for Talk to the Entities, which is a massive contribution to the earth, the entity class. Say your name for me, Palacios. Oh, I'm so bad. They're here creating foundation class and Right Voice for You tomorrow. Like, all these classes are such a contribution to the planet, to the earth. And when I ask every day, okay, what contribution can I be to consciousness? I always get, keep going creating bars, keep going with the body processes, keep running the process, keep teaching, keep facilitating. And I remember being in facilitators at Costa Rica, and when you're like, the planet is so, the earth is so beautiful in Costa Rica. And Gary just turning around and going, most of these processes, he said, they actually are the greatest contribution to the planet and to the animals. And he said, even if people don't get it, he said the planet and the animals get it. They receive it. So I was like, okay, cool. That's so like even if you don't have loads of people showing up in your classes, it doesn't matter. You're running the processes and it's contributing to the planet. So, yeah.
And I think that one of the biggest contributions we can be to the earth is laughter and being happy.
Yes.
So everybody's homework is to watch something that makes them laugh their ass off, and that'll be a huge contribution to the toxins in the ocean.
I like that. Or go have really great sex.
Julia, you had that when you were doing your energy pools, you had that one recording that you sent out, and it was silliness. It was like being silly and goofy with the earth.
Yeah.
I played that one actually in the forest. It's so much fun. It just gets me in that mode, and the nature spirits, I could just totally sense, like, receive the energy.
Oh, that's awesome.
So cool, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, maybe I need to research that. Yeah. Was it just a clearing loop, or was it an actual energy pull?
No, it was just a clearing loop.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. I'll have to find that. That's great. Thank you.
Really, really cool. I love it.
Awesome.
Amazing. Okay. Okay, guys, I keep calling you guys ladies.
Stephanie just texted. She said you ready for a laugh, that she just jumped on the wrong bus.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she just texted at the chat. She goes, here's a laugh.
See,
For her to laugh about that, that's so brilliant. Oh my gosh, Stephanie, you're awesome.
I love Julie. Julie wrote, DMM, run the shit out of it on the water. Run the shit out of DMM on my glass of water. So that's your homework. Run the shit out of DMM and go have fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for putting this together, Amy. This is really awesome.
Yeah, we'll get together again.
Cool. I appreciate you taking the lead.
Thanks for being here and for actually, showing up.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. I'll send you the recording.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.